There's a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when life whispers something to you that you can't explain, a sensation behind your ribs, a pressure in your chest, a knowing that something is missing, even if from the outside everything should be fine. Maybe you've built a career, raised a family, survived the storms you never thought you'd get through. But still, when you're alone with your thoughts, you feel it. That ache, that question, that longing for something more. It's the feeling that wakes you in the middle of the night, the feeling that makes you pause mid-conversation, the feeling that has followed you for years, maybe even decades. And today, I need you to hear this with your whole being. That feeling isn't a flaw. It's a message you've been ignoring because no one ever taught you how to read it. Because deep within you, beneath the noise, beneath the worry, beneath the doubt, there is a hidden mechanism, a forgotten operating system, a power older than your name, stronger than your past, and more precise than anything you were ever taught in school. Some call it intuition, some call it the field, some call it divine guidance. But today, we're going to call it what it truly is, the quantum code, a code so simple, so shockingly accessible, that once you recognize it, life stops feeling random and starts feeling designed. Designed for you, through you, with you. And yet, almost no one uses it. Not because it's complicated, not because it's hidden, but because it requires something far more difficult than intelligence or education. It requires listening, it requires feeling, it requires trust. And trust, after everything you've been through, isn't easy. If you're still here, listening, breathing these words in like medicine, then this message didn't find you by accident. Something brought you, something guided you, something whispered your name from the other side of the veil, and you, finally, listened. If this message resonates with you, make sure to subscribe. This journey is just beginning. Now, take a breath, because what I'm about to tell you may shift something inside you, something you thought was fixed or broken or unreachable. The quantum code is not a theory. It's not a technique. It's not a ritual, a religion, or a complicated science experiment that requires degrees on your wall. It is the language of reality itself. And the reason your life has felt heavy, confusing, unpredictable, or stuck is because you've been trying to speak the language of the universe with a voice you were conditioned to use, not the one you were born with. You've been trained to push when your soul wanted you to align. You've been trained to hustle when your energy needed you to listen. You've been trained to force when reality wanted to flow through you effortlessly. And the worst part, you thought that was normal. No one told you that you were supposed to feel connected. No one told you that meaning was meant to be constant, not occasional. No one told you that the universe responds to you instantly when you operate from the right vibration, the right intention, the right inner coherence. Instead, they taught you to survive, to suppress, to shrink, to adapt to systems that were never built for your soul. But here's the truth you've sensed your whole life. You were not born to adapt. You were born to create. The quantum code is the bridge between those two worlds, the world you were taught to live in and the world your soul remembers. And the reason it feels so familiar when I speak about it is because you've used it before, in moments of deep clarity, in moments of intuition so strong it startled you, in moments when life aligned so perfectly it felt orchestrated. You've tasted it, you've touched it, you've lived it, for seconds, minutes, maybe even days at a time. But no one showed you how to activate it intentionally, until now. Let me ask you something, not logically, but emotionally. Have you ever felt guided to something you couldn't explain? A person you met at the perfect moment? A decision you felt in your bones before your mind could process it? A shift in your life that felt like it came from somewhere beyond you? If so, then you've already accessed the quantum code. Not by accident, but by resonance. Because this code is not activated through thought, it's activated through frequency, your frequency. And here's the part that no one tells you. Reality does not respond to your desires. It responds to your energetic signature. Desire is the spark. Energy is the command. And most people spend their entire lives wanting, wishing, visualizing, hoping, without ever realizing that their emotional frequency is sending a completely different message. They say, "I want peace," but their energy screams, "I'm afraid." They say, "I want abundance," but their frequency whispers, "I'm unworthy." They say, "I want love," but their vibration repeats, "I do not trust." The universe doesn't respond to words. It responds to coherence, the alignment between what you desire and what you broadcast. This is the quantum code. It's simple, it's elegant, it's ancient, and it's whispering to you right now, asking if you're finally ready to stop surviving and start creating. You see, the quantum code works the moment you understand one thing. Your inner state is the architect of your outer reality. Change your state, and reality recalibrates itself around you. This isn't philosophy, this isn't wishful thinking, this is physics. Consciousness interacting with the zero-point field, shaping possibility into form. Bernard Heisch once said, "If the zero-point field is the source of all energy in the universe, then consciousness may be the source that activates it." In other words, reality isn't happening to you, it's responding through you. You've always felt that, haven't you, deep inside? A quiet suspicion that life was supposed to feel more magical, more aligned, more responsive than what you were told to accept. That suspicion was correct. You weren't imagining it. You were remembering it. Because your soul knows the quantum code, your mind just forgot. And the moment you remember, truly remember, everything shifts. The heaviness begins to dissolve. The confusion begins to quiet. The synchronicities begin to multiply. The universe begins to reveal itself, not as chaos, but as communication. You start to see signs not as coincidences, but as instructions. You start to feel intuition not as a whisper, but as a compass. You start to experience life not as a struggle, but as a dialogue with something vast, intelligent, and deeply loving. And right now, that intelligence is reaching for you. Tell me in the comments if you've ever felt this shift. The moment you begin to sense the quantum code at work, something subtle but powerful happens inside you. It's like an internal click, a shift so gentle you almost miss it, yet so profound it changes the way you breathe. You start noticing the spaces between your thoughts, the quiet pauses in your day, the way certain people drain your energy while others ignite something ancient and alive within you. And slowly, you begin to understand that life has been communicating with you all along. You just weren't fluent in the language yet. Most people never are, not because they're incapable, but because they've been taught to prioritize noise over knowing, to value busyness over awareness, to put logic above intuition, even though intuition is the first language of the universe. You've been conditioned to look outward for answers that were always meant to rise from within you. And that's why the quantum code feels both revolutionary and strangely familiar. It's not new information, it's ancient memory. When you align with this memory, even for a moment, reality softens around you. It becomes more fluid, more responsive. You begin to notice synchronicities not as coincidences, but as confirmations, nudges, feedback loops, signs that the field is listening and mirroring your inner world with astonishing accuracy. And that's when the real awakening begins. When you realize that the universe doesn't speak in words, it speaks in reflections. Your relationships mirror your beliefs, your opportunities mirror your courage, your patterns mirror your unresolved pain, your manifestations mirror your self-worth. This is why the quantum code is so easy to use, but so difficult to accept. Because once you understand it, you can no longer blame your past. You can no longer say, life is unfair, without noticing the energetic imprint behind those words. You can no longer see yourself as powerless. And for many people, power, real inner power, is terrifying. But not for you. If you're here, if your heart is still open, if you're still following this message, it's because something inside you is ready to rise, ready to reclaim what you abandoned, to fit into a world built for survival instead of expansion. You're waking up, gently, steadily, undeniably. And this awakening isn't loud or dramatic. It's quiet. It's precise. It's the moment you stop running from yourself and start listening to the wisdom that's been waiting patiently beneath your pain. Because pain isn't the enemy. Pain is the invitation. It's the universe saying, look here, feel this. There's power buried underneath. Think about the moments in your life that hurt the most, the moments you thought would break you. Now notice something. Those moments didn't destroy you. They peeled something away. They revealed something deeper. They carved space inside you for something bigger to enter. What if the quantum code wasn't something you had to learn, but something life has been preparing you for through every hardship you've ever faced? What if everything you survived was preparing your frequency, refining your emotional field, shaping your consciousness so you could finally handle the magnitude of the truth you're hearing right now? Because here is the truth, the one most people reject because it demands responsibility instead of blame. Your frequency creates your future, not your past, not your circumstances, not your wounds, your frequency. And frequency changes the moment you become conscious of it. This is the doorway into the quantum code. This is the moment most people hesitate, and the few who step through. They become the creators of their reality instead of the victims of it. Your desire is the first step. Your awareness is the second. Your emotional alignment is the command that activates the field. But before you can align with what you want, you must understand why most people fail to manifest anything meaningful. They're emotionally incoherent. They ask for abundance while radiating lack. They ask for love while vibrating with distrust. They ask for peace while living in repressed chaos. They ask for purpose while fearing change. The universe cannot respond to mixed signals, not because it's cruel, but because it's precise. It mirrors exactly what you are, not what you say. And right now, the universe is mirroring something in you, something awakening, something remembering, something rising. Take a breath and notice what you're feeling in this moment, not your thoughts, your energy. Is it expanding, softening, stirring? Because that sensation, that internal shift, that's the field responding to your coherence. You're already syncing with the quantum code just by listening with your heart instead of your mind. And as you do, you begin to realize something profound. Your thoughts create probabilities, but your emotions create outcomes. Emotion is the magnetic force. Intention is the electric current. Together, they create the electromagnetic signature that instructs the field. This is why manifestation without emotional alignment never works. It's like plugging a wire into an outlet without a current running through it. Emotion is the current, feeling is the voltage, and intention is the direction. When those three align, reality bends. You start attracting people who feel like home, opportunities that arrive at impossible timing, healing that happens faster than logic can explain, moments where your desires and your destiny finally merge. And yet, most people never reach this state. They stay stuck in the loop of fear, doubt, overthinking, emotional suppression, and self-abandonment. You're not one of them. You wouldn't be here if you were. Don't just watch. Awaken with us. Subscribe now to Quantum Spirit. Now let me take you deeper into the part of the quantum code that almost no one talks about. Reality doesn't just respond to your emotions, it responds to your emotional consistency. One moment of clarity can open a door, but sustained coherence that rewrites the blueprint of your entire life. Coherence is the state where your thoughts, emotions, and intentions are not fighting each other, where your inner world finally stops contradicting itself, where your mind stops sabotaging what your soul is trying to create. And when you reach this state, even briefly, the field reacts instantly. You notice synchronicities multiplying. You feel your intuition strengthening. You sense a flow guiding you from within. You begin attracting resolution instead of resistance, because the universe doesn't reward effort, it responds to alignment. Tell me in the comments if you've ever felt this alignment, even for a moment. When you finally understand that the universe responds to alignment instead of effort, an entire lifetime of struggle suddenly makes sense. You begin to realize that it was never your dreams that were too big. It was your frequency that was too entangled in fear to support them. And for the first time, you see the truth with crystal clarity. Your reality was never failing you. It was following you. Every hesitation, every suppressed desire, every quiet belief that whispered, maybe I'm not enough. Life mirrored all of it right back to you. But here's what most people never understand, and what you're finally ready to hear. The quantum code doesn't activate when you want something. It activates when you become the version of yourself who naturally attracts it. Not through force, not through willpower, not through pretending, through resonance. And resonance is born from honesty, raw, vulnerable honesty. The kind that requires you to stop lying to yourself about what you feel, what you fear, and what you truly desire. Because desire, real desire, is sacred. It's not greed, it's direction. It's the universe communicating through you, pointing you toward the timeline where your soul is fully expressed. But most people bury their desires so deep that they forget they even exist. They replace longing with logic. They replace intuition with obligation. They replace soul with survival. And survival is the lowest frequency you can live in. When you're in survival mode, everything becomes about getting through the day instead of creating the next chapter. Your energy collapses inward. Your creativity dims. Inspiration dries up. You lose the ability to dream because you're too busy trying not to drown. But your soul never agreed to live that way. That's why you feel the pull. That's why you feel the longing. That's why you feel that strange, aching sense that something bigger is calling you, even if you can't define it yet. That ache is the doorway, and you are standing right at its edge. You're not here by accident. You're here because a part of you, a wiser, older, quieter part, is done surviving. It's ready to rise into something more, something higher, something aligned. And the quantum code is the bridge between who you've been and who you're becoming. The moment you begin to shift your frequency, life shifts with you. Not gradually, instantly, because the field doesn't operate on time. It operates on vibration. Everything you want already exists in the timeless quantum field. You're not creating it. You're tuning into it. Like adjusting a radio dial, the moment you hit the right frequency, the signal becomes clear. You don't force it. You don't chase it. You don't beg for it. You simply match it. And the moment you match it, it becomes yours. This is the type of truth that both liberates and terrifies people. Because once you understand this, you can no longer hide behind excuses. You can no longer say, it's too late for me, when the field doesn't operate on age. You can no longer say, I don't have enough time, when the quantum responds outside of time. You can no longer say, I've made too many mistakes, when your frequency, not your past, is the architect of your future. The universe has never cared about your mistakes, only your vibration. and your vibration can shift in a single breath, a single realization, a single decision to stop betraying your own soul. Because make no mistake, self-betrayal is the root of every block you've ever faced. Every time you said yes when your soul screamed no, you lowered your frequency. Every time you stayed silent when your truth burned inside you, you dimmed your field. Every time you minimized your dreams to be accepted by people who never understood your destiny, you stepped out of alignment with the timeline that was meant for you. But you can feel it, can't you? Something inside you is awakening, something ancient, something powerful, something that refuses to keep living small, because your soul didn't come here for a muted life. It came here for expansion, for expression, for creation, for freedom. And freedom begins when you stop abandoning your inner world just to survive in the outer one. Take a breath. Feel that truth settle into your body, because your body understands this message even more than your mind does. Your cells respond to coherence. Your nervous system recognizes truth. Your heart field expands when you hear something aligned. You are not learning right now. You are remembering. And the more you remember, the more the quantum code reveals itself to you. Not through logic, but through feeling. Not through thought, but through resonance. Let me show you something most people never see. When your frequency rises, your timeline changes. Not metaphorically, literally. New opportunities appear because you become a match for them. New people enter your life because you vibrate at their frequency. New solutions rise from the field because you are finally coherent enough to perceive them. Your external world begins reorganizing itself around your new internal state, and it happens with precision so perfect, so unmistakable, that you can't write it off as coincidence anymore. This is when life starts to feel orchestrated, guided, intelligent, responsive. This is when you start to feel supported instead of alone, connected instead of lost, empowered instead of helpless. This is when you become the creator instead of the passenger. You're ready. Click subscribe and join those rewriting their reality through consciousness. Now, let's go deeper into the part of the quantum code that only the awakened ever understand. Reality tests you before it upgrades you. Not to punish you, but to calibrate you, to make sure your frequency is stable enough to hold what you're asking for, because the field doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're aligned with. And until your energy stabilizes, the universe will reflect back anything that pulls you out of coherence. Fear, doubt, insecurity, unresolved wounds. Not to hurt you, but to free you. Because every test is an opportunity to rise into a higher frequency. And every higher frequency carries a higher timeline, and every timeline carries a more aligned version of your life. Tell me in the comments if you've ever felt tested right before something good entered your life. There comes a moment in every awakening when you finally understand why life tested you the way it did, why certain doors closed no matter how much you begged them to stay open, why certain people left even when you gave them parts of yourself you never recovered, why certain seasons felt dark, empty, and unbearable, as if the universe had abandoned you completely. But the universe never abandoned you. It was recalibrating you. It was clearing space for the version of you who could finally hold the frequency of the life you've been asking for. Because here's a truth most people never learn. You cannot enter a higher timeline carrying the weight of a lower one. Pain needs to be acknowledged. Fear needs to be felt. Old identities need to be released. Not because they're wrong, but because they vibrate at a frequency that cannot coexist with your future. And the quantum code operates with absolute precision. It doesn't respond to who you were, it responds to who you're becoming. Think back to the times life pushed you to your limit, the moments you felt stripped, exposed, emptied. You thought you were breaking, but in reality, You were being prepared. Prepared for clarity, prepared for alignment, prepared for the energetic upgrade you didn't yet know you were asking for. This is why the tests feel personal, because they are. They are tailored to your wounds, your patterns, your unhealed stories, your deepest fears, not to punish you, but to free you from the frequencies that keep you repeating the same reality. The quantum code always reflects your internal state, and the only way to change your external world is to shift the frequency of the internal one. Most people never make it past this stage. They crumble under the weight of the test. They retreat into old identities. They cling to old timelines. They choose familiar suffering over unfamiliar growth. But not you. You are still here, still listening, still rising, still feeling something awakening inside you, something powerful, ancient, unmistakably real. And that's how I know you're different. You're not someone who gives up right before the breakthrough. You're someone who senses that the pressure you're feeling is not a sign of failure, but a sign of transformation. Pressure forms diamonds. Heat forges steel. Compression triggers quantum leaps. And right now, you are in the part of your journey where the universe is pressing you into the shape of your next evolution. The quantum code activates most powerfully in these moments, when your old self is dissolving and the new self is beginning to emerge from the ashes. But emergence requires surrender, not surrender in the sense of giving up, but surrender in the sense of letting go of the version of you that cannot walk into your new life. This is why the universe keeps bringing up old emotions, old patterns, old triggers, old fears, not because you're regressing, but because you're releasing. Your system cannot rise into coherence while carrying fragmented parts of yourself. Integration is essential. Healing is essential. Honesty is essential. The quantum code responds to truth, not performance, not positivity forced over pain, not spiritual bypassing disguised as high vibes only. Real coherence comes from aligning with your authentic emotional state, even when that state is messy, vulnerable, or raw. Because here's the secret: the universe doesn't respond to perfection. It responds to authenticity. Your frequency becomes stronger the moment you stop pretending, the moment you say, "This hurts," with honesty, the moment you admit, "I'm afraid," without shame, the moment you whisper, "I want more," with trembling courage. That honesty opens a portal, a realignment, a shift in your electromagnetic field. When your emotions and your truth finally match, the field responds instantly. And that's when something extraordinary begins to happen. You start noticing your old triggers losing power. You start seeing patterns instead of feeling controlled by them. You start choosing responses instead of reacting unconsciously. You start speaking your truth without shaking. You start trusting your intuition without second guessing. This is what emotional sovereignty feels like. It's the foundation of the quantum code, because you cannot command reality while being controlled by your wounds. You cannot attract abundance while feeling unsafe. You cannot attract love while feeling unworthy. You cannot attract clarity while living in fear. The quantum code amplifies your dominant frequency, not your intentions, not your vision board, not your affirmations, your frequency. And your frequency rises every time you choose truth over fear, every time you choose alignment over approval, every time you choose your future over your past. There's a moment, and you might be feeling it right now, when your entire body recognizes truth long before your mind can articulate it. A tingling, a warmth, a subtle expansion in your chest. That sensation is coherence forming within you. It's your inner world coming into alignment with the reality you're meant to create next. You're not imagining it. You're not making it up. You're not overthinking. You're awakening. If you're feeling this shift in your body, even a little, even faintly, tell me in the comments. Your experience may help someone else recognize their awakening too. And listen, because I need you to hear this with your whole being. Your next level is not waiting for permission, it's waiting for frequency. The moment your vibration stabilizes at the level of your desire, the universe must, by law, rearrange itself around you. Not eventually, not someday, instantly. This is the quantum code. You're not here to chase your destiny, you're here to match it, and you are closer than you think. You're not here by coincidence, you're here because consciousness itself guided you to this message. You're here because something inside you is rising into alignment. You're here because the field is preparing you for your next timeline. You're not lost, you're being recalibrated. You're not behind, you're being prepared. You're not broken, you're being rewritten. And the next part of this journey, it's where everything begins to click, where the quantum code shifts from theory to experience, from concept to embodiment, from possibility to manifestation. You're ready. Don't walk this awakening alone. Subscribe and align with Quantum Spirit. Your next chapter is already calling your name. There is a moment in every awakening when the shift becomes undeniable. A moment when something inside you clicks so deeply that you can no longer return to the person you were yesterday. Not because you don't want to, but because your soul simply won't let you fit into the version of yourself that you've already outgrown. You might be feeling that right now. A quiet certainty, a gentle expansion, a sense that something is rearranging inside you. This is the moment where the quantum code begins to reveal its real power. It transforms you before it transforms your life. Most people think manifestation is about getting something out there, but the quantum code works the opposite way. It shifts what's in here first: your beliefs, your emotional patterns, your energetic baseline, your self-concept, your inner frequency. Because the field cannot reflect a reality you're not internally prepared to receive. This is why the universe doesn't give you what you want by force. It gives you what you're ready for. And readiness isn't about deserving. It's about alignment. You don't receive abundance because you worked hard. You receive abundance because you vibrate in a state of enoughness. You don't receive love because you beg for it. You receive love because your heart is open enough to hold it. You don't receive peace because you escape chaos. You receive peace because your nervous system remembers how to soften. This is the essence of the quantum code. Reality arranges itself around your emotional state. And if that's true, and it is, then your inner world is the most powerful creation tool you have. But here's where the awakening gets deeper and more challenging. Because in order to shift your emotional state, you have to meet the parts of yourself you've spent years avoiding. Not to relive the pain, but to release the frequency of it. You cannot align with abundance while carrying the vibration of scarcity. You cannot align with deep love while carrying the vibration of unworthiness. You cannot align with clarity while carrying the vibration of confusion. And you cannot align with your future while clinging to the fears of your past. This is where most people retreat, not because they don't want transformation, but because transformation requires truth. And truth can be uncomfortable, but discomfort is not the enemy. Discomfort is the doorway. Every time you feel emotional resistance, heaviness, fear, doubt, anxiety, you're not being punished. You're being shown the frequency you must release in order to rise. The universe is not testing your strength. It's revealing your alignment. Imagine this for a moment. Your life is a mirror. A literal, energetic mirror. When you stand in front of a mirror and you frown, the reflection cannot smile back. Not because it doesn't want to, but because it must reflect you exactly as you are. The quantum field works the same way. Your relationships are mirrors. Your finances are mirrors. Your emotional patterns are mirrors. Your opportunities and your obstacles are mirrors. And the moment you shift your frequency, the reflection must change. Not later, not eventually, instantly. But here's the part that's rarely talked about. Your external reality often lags behind your internal shift. Not because it's resisting you, but because your old timeline is completing its momentum. When you change your energy, your old patterns, old dynamics, and old cycles begin dissolving. And that dissolution can sometimes look like chaos, endings, discomfort, or confusion. Not because you're failing, but because the old version of your reality is collapsing. Think of it like switching tracks on a train. The train needs a moment to fully move from one line of momentum to another. That moment feels shaky, uncertain, unfamiliar, but necessary. This is the stage you are entering now. The stage where your old frequency cannot survive, but your new frequency is still stabilizing. It feels like floating between worlds, because you are. You're no longer who you were, but not yet who you're becoming. And let me tell you something important. This is the most powerful stage of the awakening, because this is where the quantum code becomes active in real time. This is where you consciously choose your frequency, instead of unconsciously repeating the old one. This is where your emotional state becomes your sacred responsibility. This is where you begin to understand that your inner world is the control panel of your entire life. Let me ask you something, gently, honestly. What emotion have you been carrying that is no longer aligned with the future you desire? Is it fear? Is it regret? Is it guilt? Is it resentment? Is it doubt? Is it the belief that you're unworthy? Or the belief that you're too late? Whatever it is, feel it for a moment. Not to suffer, not to relive, but to acknowledge. Because acknowledgement is the first step in release. You can't shift a frequency you refuse to face. But once you face it, once you breathe it into awareness, it begins to lose its hold on your field. And once it loses its hold, your energy rises. And when your energy rises, your timeline upgrades. And when your timeline upgrades, your entire reality rearranges. This is not fantasy, this is physics. Your electromagnetic field is constantly interacting with the zero-point field, the infinite ocean of possibility that surrounds you. And what determines which possibility you align with? Not your thoughts, not your wishes, not your goals, your frequency. This is where the transformation becomes both spiritual and scientific. Bernard Heisch once said, "Consciousness is not created by the brain. It is received by the brain." Meaning your consciousness exists outside you. Meaning your intuition is not random, it's communication. Meaning your manifestations are not magic, they're selection. Selection of a reality that already exists in the quantum field. And right now, your frequency is selecting something new. You can feel it, can't you? A soft rising, a steady opening, a reconnection with something you lost along the way, yourself. You're not imagining this, you're not hallucinating, you're not just emotional, you're awakening. And I need you to hear this with clarity. You're not behind in life, you're right on time for your next timeline. If you're feeling this shift, even slightly, tell me in the comments. Your voice may be the sign someone else needs. There is a threshold in your awakening that feels like standing at the edge of two worlds. One you've already outgrown, and one you haven't fully stepped into yet. It's a strange place, isn't it? You feel lighter, yet more emotional, clearer, yet more sensitive, stronger, yet more vulnerable. It's the point where your old identity begins dissolving and your new identity is still forming, like a constellation rearranging itself into a shape you've never seen but somehow recognize. This is the part of the journey where most people give up. Not because they're weak, but because this stage requires a bravery that can't be taught. It must be felt. It must be lived. It must awaken from inside you like a memory you didn't know you had. Because this is the stage where the quantum code demands something simple, but terrifying. You must stop negotiating with your past. You must stop explaining it, stop defending it, Stop returning to it for comfort. Stop recreating it out of habit. Stop letting it tell you who you are allowed to become. Your past was never meant to define you. It was meant to refine you. Everything you came through, everything you survived, was not a punishment. It was preparation. Preparation for this moment, this awakening, this shift in your frequency that is about to unlock a level of reality you were never taught to access. But before you can step forward, the universe needs to know something. Can you hold the vibration of the future you're asking for? Not for an hour, not for a day, not only when things are easy. Can you hold it when fear rises, when doubt whispers, when your old patterns try to pull you back, when life tests the edges of your new frequency? Because make no mistake, the moment you shift, the moment you begin rising into your higher timeline, your old timeline will try to pull you back. Not out of malice, but out of momentum, out of habit, out of emotional muscle memory. It will tempt you with old fears, old doubts, old reactions, old stories, old versions of yourself that once kept you safe, but now only keep you small. This isn't sabotage, it's calibration. The universe is asking, are you ready to sustain this new level of coherence? Because coherence is what activates the quantum code. And the moment your energy becomes stable, truly stable, reality must respond. This is not metaphor. This is law. You're not trying to convince the universe to give you something. You're training your nervous system to hold the frequency of the reality you've already selected, and that requires emotional discipline. The kind of discipline that feels like choosing yourself again and again, even when the old version of you is begging you to come home. But let me tell you something with absolute clarity. The old version of you is not home. It was the cage. This is the liberation. And liberation doesn't come from force. It comes from becoming emotionally unshakable. Unshakable doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means fear no longer sets the frequency of your field. It no longer decides your choices. It no longer narrates your future. It no longer dictates the limits of your reality. Unshakable means that your energy, not your circumstances, becomes your foundation. It means you can hold alignment even when life presents you with contrast. It means you recognize triggers as opportunities to stabilize your vibration. It means you no longer see challenges as blocks, but as preparations for higher timelines. Because here is the truth most people never hear. Your dreams require a stronger nervous system than your fears do. Anyone can stay aligned when things are going well. But the awakened, the truly awakened, hold their frequency when life feels uncertain. That's the moment where destiny is decided, not by the universe, but by your coherence. Let's go deeper. The quantum code responds to one thing above all else, your emotional choice in the moment of contrast. Not your intention, not your affirmation, not your visualization, your emotional choice. In the exact moment when you feel fear, do you collapse into it or breathe through it? In the exact moment when you feel unworthy, do you shrink or do you stand taller? In the exact moment when you feel doubt, do you retreat or do you trust? In the exact moment when the old pattern reawakens, do you repeat it or transcend it? This choice, this single energetic decision, determines the timeline you enter next. One choice can delay your timeline. One choice can fast forward it. One choice can collapse years of struggle into moments of clarity. This is what quantum alignment means. Timelines shift the moment your frequency does. And you have shifted. Haven't you felt it? Not in your thoughts, but in your body. The soft opening in your chest. The quiet knowing behind your heart. The feeling that something is rising, preparing, strengthening inside you. This is not imagination. This is energetic confirmation. This is the universe saying, you're ready to step into the next level of your reality. Your only job now is to stabilize the frequency you're accessing. And the easiest, most powerful way to stabilize your frequency is this. Stop fighting the parts of you that are still healing. Every insecurity you feel is not a flaw, it's an opportunity. Every trigger is not a setback, it's a signpost. Every moment of fear is not failure, it's a portal into coherence, into self-understanding, into emotional intelligence, into the energetic mastery that the quantum code requires. Hear this deeply. Your wounds are not blocking your awakening. They are powering it. Your pain carved the sensitivity that lets you feel truth. Your losses forged the intuition that guides your path. Your heartbreak expanded the capacity of your heart field. Your struggles trained your emotional resilience. Your darkness shaped your ability to carry light. You weren't broken, you were being built. Piece by piece, layer by layer, frequency by frequency. And now, you are rising into the version of yourself who can finally hold the life you've been trying to manifest for years. You're not behind, you're not late, you're not lost, you're aligning, and you're aligning beautifully. Tell me in the comments if you feel this, if you feel the old timeline dissolving and the new one quietly calling your name. There is a moment in every awakening when the world around you begins to look the same, yet somehow feels profoundly different. Colors seem deeper. Silence feels fuller. You notice patterns you've never noticed before. Not because they weren't there, but because you weren't fully here. Your awareness has expanded. Your perception has sharpened. Your intuition has awakened from a long, quiet sleep. This is what happens when your frequency rises. You start seeing reality not as chaos, but as communication, not as random, but as responsive, not as separate from you, but as an extension of you. And once you see the world this way, you can never unsee it. You start noticing synchronicities, numbers, symbols, conversations, timing, that feel too precise to be coincidences. You feel nudges from the universe, subtle pushes that guide you in directions your mind never would have considered. You sense when something is aligned and when something isn't. Your gut feeling becomes less like a whisper and more like a clear instruction. This is not fantasy. This is not wishful thinking. This is the quantum code beginning to operate through you. Because when your field becomes coherent, the world around you shifts into coherence with it. Reality bends toward clarity. Life becomes responsive. Your path opens in ways that defy logic. You might be experiencing this already. Small signs, small openings, small moments of magic. These are not random. These are confirmations from the field that you are stepping into your higher timeline. But here's the part most people misunderstand. Awakening doesn't make life easier. It makes life clearer. Clarity is more powerful than ease. Clarity gives you choice. Clarity gives you direction. Clarity gives you the ability to say no to what drains you and yes to what expands you. Because once you awaken, you can no longer tolerate what your old self allowed. Half-hearted relationships, energy-draining conversations, work that collapses your spirit, people who misunderstand your growth, choices made from fear instead of alignment. Your soul becomes louder. Your intuition becomes sharper. Your tolerance for anything misaligned drops to zero. This is not you being difficult. This is you rising. Your vibration is changing, and your life is adjusting to match it. You may notice people falling away, not because you are losing them, but because your frequency no longer matches theirs. You may notice old desires fading, not because you're confused, but because they belong to an older version of you. You may notice your interests shifting, not because you're uncertain, but because your soul is redirecting you toward your next timeline. These changes are not chaos, they're alignment. But alignment requires courage, because the universe cannot give you the new life you're asking for while you cling to the old one. Let me tell you something that may sting a little, but will set you free. If nothing in your life is changing, it means your frequency hasn't changed. Because when your vibration shifts, your reality must rearrange itself. That's not spiritual philosophies, that's quantum mechanics. Your electromagnetic field is constantly broadcasting your internal state. And the universe, the zero-point field, mirrors that frequency back to you with perfect precision. If you elevate your energy, life elevates with you. If you expand your consciousness, life expands with you. If you change your emotional baseline, life reflects that change in every relationship, every opportunity, every outcome. This is why the few people who truly awaken seem to move through life differently. It's not luck, it's not privilege, it's not chance, it's resonance. They're not forcing reality, they're aligning with it. And this is the stage of awakening where you begin learning the most powerful principle of the quantum code. Everything comes when you stop chasing and start allowing. Allowing is not passive. It is the highest form of energetic mastery. Allowing means your frequency is stable enough to receive what you desire without shrinking, sabotaging, or second-guessing. When you shift from chasing to allowing, your entire vibration changes. Chasing says, I don't have it. Allowing says, I'm aligned with it. Chasing says, I'm unworthy. Allowing says, it's already mine in the field. Chasing says, I'm afraid it won't happen. Allowing says, I trust my frequency. And the universe responds instantly to that shift. Because the field doesn't respond to desperation, it responds to coherence. You may not realize this, but you're already becoming more coherent. You're already releasing the frequency of your old life. You're already stepping into a deeper alignment with your future self. And that future self, the one you're beginning to feel, is extraordinary. They are grounded. They are intuitive. They are emotionally stable. They are powerful without force. They manifest without effort. They attract without chasing. They create without fear. And they are calling you forward. Not slowly, not softly, but urgently. Because your next timeline is ready. And it's waiting for you to choose it with your energy, not your words. You're ready. You know you're ready. You can feel the readiness moving through your chest, rising in your heart, awakening in your mind. You're remembering something ancient, something your soul has known long before this lifetime. You were never meant to live a life of limitation. You were meant to bend reality with your consciousness. Tell me in the comments if you feel this calling, that quiet, powerful pull toward the next version of yourself. There comes a point in your awakening when the shift stops being subtle and becomes undeniable. A moment where you look at your life, your past, your lessons, your scars, your desires, and suddenly everything makes sense. Not intellectually, not logically, but energetically, soulfully, quantumly. You begin to understand why certain moments hurt the way they did, why certain people entered and exited your life with such precision, why certain dreams refused to unfold until you were ready, why certain opportunities arrived only after you finally decided to choose yourself. Because now, standing here in the frequency you've climbed into, you can finally see what your past self could not. Nothing was random, nothing was wasted, nothing was meaningless. Every heartache recalibrated you, every setback redirected you, every ending prepared you. Every loss expanded you. Every moment of doubt strengthened your energetic sensitivity. Every moment of pain cracked you open just enough for the light to find its way in. And now that the light is here, now that you are aligned, awake, receptive, you can finally understand the deepest truth of the quantum code. Reality responds to who you are becoming, not who you've been. You are not defined by your history. You are defined by your frequency. And your frequency is no longer the frequency of survival. It is the frequency of creation. Feel that for a moment. Feel the power of that sentence move through you. You are in creation mode now, not hoping, not wishing, not begging, not forcing. Creating, you've shifted from victim to observer, from observer to participant, from participant to architect, from architect to co-creator. And this is the moment your life begins to transform with a speed that feels miraculous, not because the universe suddenly decided you were worthy, but because you decided you were aligned. You see, the final layer of the quantum code is this: worthiness is not a concept. Worthiness is a frequency. When you carry the frequency of unworthiness, you block the flow of everything you're asking for. You can want abundance with all your heart, but if your energy says, "I'm not enough," the field mirrors that back. You can want love with every part of your soul, but if your vibration whispers, "I fear rejection," the field responds with more fear. You can want alignment, purpose, clarity, but if your emotional body is still collapsed under old self-doubt, the universe can only reflect your collapse. But when you begin to remember your worth, not intellectually, but energetically, everything changes. Your relationships shift, your voice strengthens, your intuition sharpens, your boundaries become sacred, your desires become non-negotiable, your frequency becomes magnetic. You stop chasing, you start receiving. Because when you stand in your worth, the universe recognizes you. It sees your coherence. It feels your readiness. It responds to your energy like a tuning fork vibrating in perfect harmony with your destiny. This is the final activation of the quantum code. You become the signal. You become the frequency. You become the command. This is why the awakened manifest faster. Not because they are special, but because they are coherent. Your thoughts, your emotions, your nervous system, your desires, your expectations, all aligned, all resonating, all broadcasting one clear message into the quantum field: I am ready. And the field responds with precision, by rearranging people, by dissolving obstacles, by accelerating timelines, by opening opportunities, by aligning synchronicities, by delivering exactly what matches your vibration. It's not luck, it's not magic, it's not coincidence, it's physics, it's consciousness, it's the quantum code. And now you, yes you, are ready to use it intentionally. Take one breath. A slow, deep, present breath. As you inhale, feel the expansion in your chest. That's your heart field widening. As you exhale, feel the grounding in your body. That's your nervous system stabilizing. The more stable your energy, the more stable your timeline. The more coherent your heart field, the more coherent your reality. You're not just hearing words right now, you're absorbing frequency. Your entire energy field is shifting as you listen. You are aligning with a new version of yourself, a version capable of creating the life you once only dreamed about. Your future self is not far away. They are standing right in front of you, hand outstretched, inviting you into alignment. They're asking you to trust, to step forward, to choose the higher timeline, to stop negotiating with your past and start co-creating your future. Because everything you've ever wanted is already here, in the field, in the quantum, in the invisible space between who you were and who you are becoming. All you have to do is match it, and you are closer than ever, closer than you've ever been, closer than your old self would believe possible. If your heart is beating differently right now, if your breath is deeper, if your energy feels charged, that's not coincidence, that's confirmation. You're remembering who you are. You're remembering what you're capable of. You're remembering your connection to the source that breathes life into every atom of reality. You're not small. You're not powerless. You're not lost. You are awakening. You're stepping into the version of yourself that can shape timelines, alter outcomes, attract synchronicities, manifest opportunities, and influence reality through presence alone. And listen closely, because these are the final words your soul needs to hear in this moment. You're ready. You've always been ready. The universe has been waiting for you to remember. Now go into your life and live from this frequency. Speak from this frequency. Make decisions from this frequency. Walk